Top 10 Unbelievable Coincidences in History. History is filled with unbelievable coincidences. Whether you see them as random or believe that this points to a larger pattern of something out of the ordinary, that's entirely up to you. However, these top 10 unbelievable coincidences in history will definitely have you questioning everything you have ever believed in. Number 10. Mark Twain and Halley's Comet. How many people get to predict exactly when they would die, and it would be 100% correct? Well, Mark Twain was one of those rare people that faced this incredible coincidence. Mark Twain was a celebrated author who was born on the 30th of November, 1835, which was the day that a periodic comet known as the Halley's Comet came into Earth. This amazing occurrence happens only once in 75 years. In 1909, when Mark was 74 years old, he predicted that his death would coincide with that of the arrival of the comet, just like when he was born. In fact, he said he would be disappointed if it didn't happen. True to his word, Mark died of a heart attack on the 21st of April, 1910, which was exactly one day after the appearance of Halley's Comet. Number 9. The Comet family hit by a meteor. What are the odds that you would be hit by a meteor? Well, experts say that this is incredibly rare as the odds are only 1 in 1,600,000. So, imagine how shocking it was for a meteor to fly through space for more than 1 billion years, only to hit the home of family known as Kemet. This unbelievable occurrence happened in France in one of the strangest cosmic events in history. The good news is that no one in the family was hurt, and they instead took possession of an extraterrestrial rock to remind them of that day. Number 8. The Titanic Prediction. 14 years before the Titanic sank in what would be one of the most tragic accidents on the ocean, Robert Morgan predicted this in his book, The Wreck of the Titan. The book had lots of uncanny similarities with what happened on the ship, apart from the fact that they shared the same name and were described as unsinkable. One of them is that they both started the inevitable journey to their end by hitting icebergs on the starboard side of the ship. Apart from this, the ship in the book also sank in April about 400 miles from Newfoundland, which was exactly the same thing that happened to the Titanic. This coincidence makes you question if time travelers truly existed. Number 7. Reincarnation of Enzo Ferrari. Mesut Ozil is a footballer who played for Germany, but there's something very interesting about this former soccer star apart from his exploits on the football field. He's actually Enzo Ferrari's doppelganger. Enzo Ferrari was the founder of Ferrari, an Italian car company that's so popular as a luxury brand today. However, pictures of the younger version of this man surfaced on the internet a few years ago, and football fans could immediately see the similarity between Enzo and Mesut. However, that's not all. Apart from being identical, Mesut Ozil was born on the 15th of October in 1988, exactly 2 months after Enzo died on the 14th of August. Many people believe that this is a reincarnation. Number 6. September earthquakes in Mexico. Natural disasters are completely unpredictable. While science has made it easy to track when events like earthquakes, typhoons, and even hurricanes will happen, it doesn't always mention the exact day as well. So, what do you have to say about a major earthquake taking place on the same day and month a few years apart? We're talking about the city of Mexico, which experienced 3 of its most disastrous earthquakes on September 19. The first was in 1985, taking more than 10,000 lives. The second was in 2017 and the third in 2019. These other 2 were also responsible for the combined deaths of more than 200 people. Number 5. The dam that killed the Tyranies. The Hoover Dam led to the death of 96 people throughout its construction, but what's interesting about this otherwise ordinary fact is the name of the first and last fatalities. They were both from the same family. The first death was that of John Gregory Tierney, who died on the 20th of December, 1921. There had been a flash flood in the Colorado River during an inspection, and he drowned in the violent currents. However, exactly 14 years later, and on the same day, the Hoover Dam had its final fatality, a man named Patrick William Tierney. Patrick was John's only son, and he fell to his death on the Arizona side of Black Canyon. Number 4. The man who survived 2 nuclear bombs. The nuclear bombs detonated over the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki claimed almost 100,000 lives. These incidents, which happened on August 6th and August 9th respectively in 1945, threw lots of families into mourning. However, the Japanese government later discovered that one man, Tsutomu Yamaguchi, survived both bombings as he witnessed them live. On the 6th of August, Tsutomu was blown over while working across the city during a business trip. After surviving this, he returned home to Nagasaki, where he experienced this same traumatic event again. Despite being exposed to the dangerous radiation twice, Tsutomu lived until the age of 93, when he eventually succumbed to stomach cancer in 2010. Number 3. Saved and killed by Booth. Many people are aware of the fact that the name of the man that assassinated Abraham Lincoln was John Wilkes Booth. However, what you may not know is that his brother, Edwin Booth, saved the life of Abraham Lincoln's eldest son, Robert Lincoln, less than a year before his father's brutal death. Robert was on a train trip from New York to Washington, D.C. when he had to make a stop at New Jersey. During this stop, he got pushed back so much by people crowding the platform that he almost fell on the tracks. This would have resulted in him losing his life if Edwin hadn't stepped in to pull him back at that exact moment. It was later that Booth discovered the identity of the man he had saved as the president's son. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough to stop his brother from taking the life of a Lincoln less than a year later. Number 2. Miss Unsinkable. Violet Jessup is either the unluckiest woman in the world or the luckiest, depending on what angle you decide to look at it. She became a stewardess on the Royal Mail Line at the young age of 21. However, she witnessed 3 massive disasters in the course of her career. The first was aboard the Olympic in September 1911, which was the 5th commercial voyage of this vessel. Unfortunately, it collided with the HMS Hawke close to the Isle of Wight in southern England, and she survived this. Barely a year later, she was aboard the unsinkable Titanic for its maiden voyage, which ended beneath the ocean after it hit an iceberg. Violet was able to get on a lifeboat, where she was rescued 8 hours later. 2 years later, in November 1916, she was once again on a deadly voyage, this time on the Britannic. By this time, she was a nurse in the British Red Cross after World War I broke out and was on the ship when it struck a mine and sank. This earned her the nickname Miss Unsinkable, as Violet went on to spend 42 years having a successful career at sea. Number 1. Similarities between 2 presidents. What would you do if you shared a strange fate with someone that you have no genetic similarity to? That's the story of Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, both great men who lived to become presidents of the United States at different times. While Abraham Lincoln was elected into Congress in 1846 and became president in 1860, John F. Kennedy was elected into Congress in 1946 and became president in 1960. Both events occurred 100 years apart. However, that's not where the coincidence ends. Both presidents were assassinated on a Friday while sitting beside their wives. Even the presidents that succeeded them were both previously vice presidents and named Johnson. For Abraham, it was Andrew Johnson, who was born in 1808, while for John F. Kennedy, it was Lyndon Johnson, born in 1908. What do you think about this? Did you enjoy this video? Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing and entertaining information.